All right, converting from standard form to vertex form. So which equation is in standard form and which is in vertex form? Well, this equation here on the left is in vertex form, and the equation here on the right is in standard form. We know that, right? Which letters do the two equations share? Well, if we have a times x minus h squared plus k, and we have a times x squared plus bx plus c. Well, the equations both share the letter a. Now, what is the formula to find the axis of symmetry? The h, or the x value of the vertex, is what we called that yesterday. And remember, the formula to find the axis of symmetry is negative b divided by 2a. Now, how can you use the axis of symmetry, the x value here, the h, to find the y value for the vertex? Well, just like we did a couple weeks ago, we're going to plug in h to find our k. Just like before when we had to plug in x to find our y, now we're going to plug in h to find our k. So what's our goal here? Our goal is to take an equation from standard form, excuse me, from standard form, which is f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c, and to be able to rewrite that equation in vertex form, which is f of x equals a times x minus h squared plus k. So that's our goal. So let's look at examples A and B. Write the function in vertex form by identifying a from the standard form and h and k from the graph. Okay, so our a from standard form, we can see, is equal to 1. The h, we're going to have to look at our graph. So our h, remember, is our x value, and our x value is on our x-axis right here, and that is going to be 4. And the k here, my y value here on my y-axis, is going to be equal to a negative 4. So my vertex is 4, negative 4. So what would this equation look like in vertex form? I'm going to have f of x is equal to x minus 4 squared minus 4. Okay, my a was 1, so there's nothing to put outside that parentheses. My h is equal to 4, and my k is equal to negative 4. All right. Let's look at example B. F of x is equal to 2x squared plus 12x plus 13. Well, my a is equal to 2. My vertex I can look at my graph to identify. I'm going to find my x value of my vertex here, which is -3, and the y value of my vertex is a +5. So that means that this is my h and this is my k, because again, my h is my x value of my vertex. So my h is equal to a -3, and my k is equal to a -5. Rewrite that a little bit better so you can see it. So my h is -3, because this is my x-axis. My k is -5, because this is my y-axis. Okay, so now I have to plug that in to write it in vertex form. However, I'm going to show you a little extra step first. So f of x is going to equal 2, because that's my a term, multiplied by x minus a -3. Because that h is negative, and when I'm writing it in vertex form, I have to subtract that negative. I'm going to write in this extra step. So squared, and then I have -5, because that's my k term. Remember, when you subtract a negative, it's really adding. So our final answer here is going to be f of x is equal to 2 times x plus 3 squared minus 5. That's really going to bug me that that's in the wrong color, so I'm going to fix that right now. F of x is equal to 2x plus 3 squared minus 5. Okay, don't forget that if you have a negative h value, you are really subtracting a negative. So it becomes an addition sign in the parentheses. All right, now for example C and D, we're going to write the function in vertex form by identifying A and finding h and k algebraically using the standard form. So using what we've learned. Okay, we have to use the axis of symmetry formula. Okay, so let's look at letter C. We have f of x is equal to -x squared plus 10x minus 20. My a value here is going to be -1. And to find my h value, I'm going to plug in that b term, right? And I don't want to use that same color, so I'll decide colors after. So I'm going to do -10 divided by 2 times -1, because that's my a term. Well, -10 divided by -2 is going to equal a +5. So that's going to be my axis of symmetry. And because I know that's the x value in my vertex, I can then plug in that value of 5 to my function. So f of 5 is now going to be equal to a -5 squared plus 10 times 5 minus 20. 5 squared is 25, but I can't forget that negative sign. +10 times 5 is going to be a +50. And then we still have that negative 20. Okay, negative 25 plus 50 is going to be 25, minus 20 is going to equal 5. So that means my vertex is at the point 5, 5. So here's my A. My H we determined was 5, and my K was also equal to 5. And my X value, my Y value, my H, my K, which is the same thing as your X and Y. So f of X is going to equal a negative X minus 5 squared plus 5. And my H, my K, my A. Example G. We have f of x is equal to 4x squared plus 48x plus 148. My A is equal to 4. To find my H, I have to do negative 48, because that's my B term, divided by 2 times 4. So that's going to be negative 48 divided by 8, which is equal to a negative 6. So if I write this over here to the left, my vertex, I know the x value or the h value in my vertex is going to be negative 6. Okay, now let's find our k term. To find our k term, we're going to plug in that negative 6. So f of negative 6 is going to equal 4 multiplied by negative 6 squared plus 48 times negative 6 plus 148. Well, negative 6 squared is going to be 4 times 36. 48 times negative 6 is going to be a negative 288. And then I'm going to add 148. 4 times 36 is 144. Minus 288. Actually, what I can do here is I can combine that negative 288 and positive 148. And I'm going to get a negative 140. And then 144 minus 140 is going to equal 4. And I'm going to run out of space, so I'm just going to write that over here is equal to 4. So that is the k, or my y value in my vertex. So f of x is equal to 4, because that's my a term, multiplied by x minus a negative 6 squared plus 4, which is the same thing as 4 multiplied by x plus 6 squared plus 4. Again, that negative 6, if I have a negative x value, it's going to become a positive 6 when I finish simplifying it. We have our plus 4, which is our k, and our a didn't change at all. All right, So that's how you go from standard form to Vertex form. I want you to do the practice problems 1 through 8 on your own. If you have questions or need help, I recommend asking them in class, or you can come to the morning tutoring sessions that I offer Monday through Friday from 7:20 to 8:50 on Teams.